How to keep your photography afloat with high-speed sync.
There's only one thing that we love more than eating food with chopsticks, and that's photography.
No, not that kind of sync.
No, we're not going down Titanic.
No. You know, we've talked a lot about high-speed sync. We talk about it a lot in our workshops, and we've had one show devoted to high-speed sync, and I guess we now have 2 shows that are going to be devoted.
Yeah, and it's not just high-speed sync, but really taking that flash or your lighting to the next level.
Yeah. You know, we just had a friend that we talked to last week.
We had one friend. Just
one friend. Now, remember we were telling her she had been out of photography for a while, just for a year or so, kind of taking it easy away from photography, got back into it. We're going, oh my goodness, things have changed.
Big time.
What has changed big time is high-speed sync.
Yep. Yeah, it's, we've said it so many times. You guys probably think that we work for some kind of high-speed sync secret agency or something.
Exactly.
We talk about it so often, but the reality is that it truly has changed our lives.
Yeah.
And in fact, that same friend was making fun of me because I have said a number of things that change your life.
It'll change your life.
As far as camera gear.
Come with us on a workshop and you'll hear that 10 times in the day.
Change your life.
Do this.
But you know what? This one really is true. I mean, there's 2 things that have changed our life. One is the spider holster, right? Which we talk about often.
Yep.
The other one is this high-speed sync. And man, it's really, really pretty awesome.
Yeah. So the biggest thing is that, years ago I said, this is what changed my life, and that was understanding shutter speed and aperture and how it related to flash, because suddenly I can make an exposure with flash consistently. I can be creative with it, and it was wonderful, and we've created great images that way. But the reason most people hate using flash, they don't want to admit it, it's the fact that as portrait photographers, I don't really want to shoot a portrait at f/16 or f/13. I want to shoot it at 2.8.
Or in your case,
1.4. Yeah, and get that creamy bokeh in the background. And you couldn't do it with flash. I mean, people had workarounds like what? You could put, neutral density filters on your lenses. You could cover up parts of your flash. I mean, I've literally been out with somebody that put their fingers over my speed light to cut it down from 128th power down to, 256 power, right? Covering half.
Yeah, just like covering half of it.
But those are all crazy workarounds.
Yeah, no, I mean,
don't have to do that now.
It's been pretty awesome. And I think what we'll do here in a minute when we go out on our photo walk is just we'll talk a little bit more about high-speed sync. We'll show you probably some pictures that we took recently using high-speed sync. We're not going to be shooting so much today on our photo walk, but just really kind of talking through this in a
to help you understand
what's going on.
Because once you understand it, it just does change. When we started shooting high-speed sync earlier this year, I mean, we've been doing this for a couple of years, playing with it, but really switching over to shooting with it, we struggled.
We did.
Because your brain has to be retrained.
We had to go backwards in thinking that we're trying to make it harder than it is.
Yeah, exactly. And then we try to make everything high-speed sync, and even that's bad, because as much as we're excited about high-speed sync, there are plenty of times when it doesn't make the hill of beans. You just don't need it.
You just don't need it at all.
Yep. When that sun's setting.
Hill of beans. I haven't heard that saying in a long time. And what exactly is a hill of beans? Have you ever thought about that? Is it like a big mountain of beans? I mean, why is there a mountain of beans? I'm sorry, I digress.
I know, but because I immediately started thinking about the veteran Sam Hill.
What I actually started thinking about is a burrito. I'm kind of hungry right now. I'll just eat my sushi burrito. But
that's right. So,
anyways,
why don't we load up the walk and take a photo walk?
Take a little walk and
let's go play with high-speed sync again today.
Yeah. All right, so if you guys remember last week when we were out there shooting our model Jessica, we were shooting with the exact same light, the Interfit S1, but we were shooting in all manual mode, which meant that we were limited, right, Mark, to our
sync speed
limit of our sync speed, which on our Nikon cameras is 250, 320, but using the Interfit lights is 250. On the Canon, it's about 200. On some it's even 180. So it's pretty slow shutter speed, actually.
Yep.
And that caused a lot of problems, right? I mean, it caused us problems where we had to just keep it within that sync speed, and that background became a real distraction, right?
It did. And that's the reason why a lot of people don't like flash photography, especially in the daytime, because when you're at a 250th of a second on a day like today, when it's very bright out, you said our lenses are going to have to be stopped down to like f/13, f/16 sometimes, in order to make it so we can get the background, get the person And you said it perfectly. Our background is no longer it's a background; it's a distraction.
It's a total distraction.
You
You're
just
seeing the twigs and
exactly
everything.
all the little stuff back there. We want it to be this creamy background. That's what, especially when we're doing portraits.
That's the key is portraits.
Yeah.
Landscapes, it's a whole different issue, but you're usually not using light for landscapes.
Yeah.
But portraits is totally different. Now we have a solution that we already talked about right before we were talking about coming out on the photo walk, is the high-speed sync.
Yep.
It revolutionizes the way you shoot and changes that whole picture.
All right, so before you tell us about the reason why high-speed sync is the answer, we have to remember there's always three variables when we talk about flash photography and our flash exposure. And that is, normally we think about aperture, which controls the light falling on your subject. We think about shutter speed, which controls the ambient light. And then we think about ISO, which globally changes both the light on the subject and the background. But with high-speed sync, it's totally different.
So Mark, you're completely right. Normally we have to think about those three variables. The beauty of high-speed sync is that we don't necessarily have to think about those variables. What we got here is, with our camera, we can often shoot at whatever aperture we want. So if we want to shoot that wide open at maybe a 1.8 or even a 1.4 aperture, you can do it with high-speed sync. The other two variables, the ISO and your shutter speed, set your ISO to whatever you think it is, maybe the lowest ISO that you feel comfortable shooting. And then what you're gonna do is you're just gonna ride that shutter speed up and down. You can actually hear I just changed it. I went beyond my sync speed by rising my shutter speed. I can go all the way up on this camera to 1/8,000th of a second. What that's gonna allow me to do is shoot at 1.8 in this bright scene here and be able to capture that nice creamy bokeh in the background, all while creating a great image with light.
So you just heard when Steve ran up his shutter speed, the light actually beeped. Why is that? Because these lights now and the triggers are so smart that once our camera goes over that shutter speed, just like I did, it automatically sets it into the high-speed sync mode. Now, what does that mean? It means that the light is going to go to full power. The light absolutely has to fire at the full power mode when you're in high-speed sync. There is no turning the light down. With the S1s, you actually can turn them up. So we still have 2 more stops of light we can add to it, but the light requires that it be in the full power mode. This goes for all high-speed sync lights, and that is just simply because to get that flash duration, it has to be at that full power mode so that it can continually flash and get you the most light possible during that constant exposure.
So, you know, Mark, I think the best way to actually show this is let's kind of demo what this is like, what it's like shooting with high-speed sync, or without it first, right? The normal way, maximizing our sync speed, and then let's go beyond the sync speed and use some high-speed sync. So why don't you go back there, stand in the area there, and I'm going to take a picture of him. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to shoot this at probably 2/50 of a second, so I'm at the very top of my sync speed. It's probably going to be F11 to F14 or so, I don't know, and I'm at 100 ISO. So let's just see what we come out with right now. When I take this image, right, it actually looks pretty good, and that was at F13. I'm going to lower it down to F11 just because, there we go. It's split perfectly. I mean, it's a good shot, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually drive my shutter speed up. I'm going to go maybe to 4,000, but I'm going to go all the way down to 1.8. So 1.8 is the widest open aperture I have on this 85mm lens. Let's see what happens. Now, you heard that beep again. Now it's running at power level 8, which is full power. I still can actually bump it up beyond full power even. Exposure is identical. In fact, I'm looking at those two images. They look the same, except I've got that creamy bokeh. You can actually see it up on the screen. Now that background is completely creamy looking. It looks fantastic. So yeah, check out the difference, right?
So there you go. There is the reason why we are so in love with high-speed sync, because up until these came into our possession, we couldn't do that.
No.
We tried to do it with our speed lights and with mixed results, but this is consistent.
That background, in fact, in that one shot that we were showing, was a distraction, right? I see all the twigs and the stuff.
It looks nice.
The other one looks just like a nice portrait. So,
but again, here's what I always tell everybody. This just extends. It gives me like 10 extra hours of shooting time, because now when I have that senior portrait where that student goes, I can't shoot, I have to shoot between 2 and 6. And you're going, that's the worst time of the day to shoot. The sun's still up high. I can go into high-speed sync and I can still take some amazing portraits at very low apertures or wide apertures.
Hey, I think again what we can do is we can put the website link for Interfit, just in case you guys are interested in looking more at the Interfit product. You know, we do love them. And In fact, they've been generous and gave us a coupon code that you get 10% off if you order the lights. But just check it out at least. I think it's worth doing. Shooting high-speed sync is definitely the way to go. No matter what type of lights you're using, if they're high-speed sync compatible,
Yes.
shoot high-speed sync.
You've just improved your
That's
photography. It will change your
That's
life.
right. That's right.
Fortunate questions. Okay.
It's the fortune time.
Yes.
Oh, I was choked way too
again.
low on my
You did.
cookie.
All right, so here we go. We're going to open up our question for today. If you're new to our show, each week we open up a question that is shoved in one of these beautiful
Fabulous
fortune cookies. And each week I try not to eat any of them, so you don't have to hear me crunching or talking with my mouth open. As I tell my children, it's not very
Thanks
good.
for wiping it on the floor again, like usual. Yes, all the crumbs go directly on the floor here in the studio.
And it's upside down. And I didn't bring my glasses.
My sunglasses. I thought you said.
No, I didn't bring my reading glasses. So this is from Stephen from Everett, Washington.
Everett.
Yes.
Make sure you enunciate the Everett.
Okay, and it says, do I need to buy expensive pro level SD cards for my camera? Do you need to buy those
Do
expensive?
you need to? No. Should
No,
you?
you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. I mean, like,
There's
you
a
know,
lot of confusion with SD
There is.
cards.
So, what I use, and it's unfortunate, well, it's not unfortunate I use these because these are great cards, but it's unfortunate the company is no longer going to produce memory cards, but Lexar, I use all Lexar professional cards, right?
And I'm a SanDisk guy. I've
These
been using them forever.
are class 10. This one is 1,000 speed, which means it's 150 megabits per second. So it's a fast card.
Yep.
I just know that with companies like Lexar, SanDisk, there's a couple other really good Delkin, good brands out there, that the cards, your pictures are pretty safe. And a lot of these companies actually offer a warranty that if the card fails, they'll
They'll get them off the
get
card
them
or
off
try
the
to.
card.
Yeah. And I've had cards fail, and I've had to use software to recover them.
Yeah.
And they, believe it or not, they're very recoverable. They're worth spending whatever you pay, $29 for a program.
Here's the thing now. Like, I mean, a card like this is going to cost like $29. It's a 64 gigabyte card for $29.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm the most guilty of this thing, where I'll go to the store and go, oh, that was so expensive. And I'll buy the one that's like $4 less, a cup of coffee less, and think like, wow, I got a great deal.
Yeah.
But, so the important thing is, you've got class, and you've got...
I've got
People
class.
have class.
You're right.
Yeah.
I've got class. Thank you for noticing that finally.
No, so your class is going to be like a class
There's like a class 4, class 6, 8, 10. I
6.
think
Yeah,
they go
exactly.
multiples of
So right now, class 10
Yep.
that's what you should be looking
That's
at.
the fastest class.
Yeah. And so the question really is, do I need to... The easy answer is to go, if you don't want to, don't buy it. But you really do need it,
Yeah.
because it's no different than like
Yeah.
your computers when you went from USB 1 to USB 3 to whatever. The speed of just downloading your images is considerable.
It is. So I just looked up. I've got the SanDisk website actually up on the computer here. So their fastest CF card, or excuse me, SD card is 300 megabits per second. So it's twice as fast as the card that I have on my computer. That thing's blazing fast, right?
Okay.
It's a class 10. It's also a class U3, which is used for video classification
Yeah.
of video. That's the fastest.
Yeah,
video
so if you ever see
classification.
that U number, that's dealing with how fast it's going to work with video.
Right, how fast
so
it
if you
processes.
shoot any video, you ought to be looking for those U3
Yeah.
cards. You can get by with a 6 and 8 for pictures, but stick with the 10s.
So they've got also, if you shoot with compact flash, a C-Fast card, which is used also mostly for video, because it's a very fast card. This thing reads at 525 megabits per second, writes at 450 megabits per second. So
that's
it's extremely
incredible.
fast.
Yeah. So for video, you really have to.
Check this out. So have you guys ever seen the little micro SD cards? They fit in like
Fit
a
in your
GoPro,
telephone, in your telephone.
In your telephone, yes.
Your
Try to shove that in a
cellular
telephone with the cord. But no, they fit in your GoPro, Osmo, all those kind of things. They have a 400 gigabyte.
Yeah.
That's bigger than like my 256 gigabyte drive on my Surface here.
Exactly.
That's nuts.
Yeah, and you know what's funny is that I've never been a proponent. Video, it all changes. It's like you definitely need lots of space. But for pictures, I'm slowly warming up to the idea of bigger cards. I've always been scared of the idea, because I've had cards fail, is to go, I'm going to put an entire wedding on a 64 gig card.
Yeah.
Because if that card goes down, I lost the entire wedding.
Yeah.
Whereas if I've broken it up over a few 16s, I've actually moved up to 32
Now people will
gigs.
tell you just if your camera has dual slots, right?
Right to two of them.
Right on two of them. But
which most of our cameras now at least are, prosumer to, pro lines all have.
I use all 64 gigabyte cards. Well, pretty much because the files are so huge in this camera. That's one problem, is that your file's getting bigger and bigger on your camera. I get 700 raw files on 64 gigabytes.
Yeah, and that's a big files
That's a
too.
big file.
So for a regular size camera, that's not shooting an 810 and that's filling up with giant files, you're going to get 1400 or something on there. So yeah, it's getting much more difficult to fill a card. So it's what you're comfortable with possibly losing is what I always say is I'm never comfortable losing anything.
That's a good question.
It really is, because
I just remember Everett. What was the name? Who wrote that
Steven
question?
from Everett,
Okay. Oh, that was a hard name to remember, wasn't
Yeah.
it? Yes. Good.
Couldn't remember
I'm
your own
feeling
name.
really sharp today.
So, hey, just so you know, Stephen in Everett, Washington, we will be sending you the beautiful
yes.
chopstick
The deluxe
kit.
fortune cookie
So,
chopstick.
right there, if we use your whatever.
we can't even talk today.
No, if we use your question on the air, we shove it in a cookie and read it on the air, we're going to send you one of these beautiful kits. So, Stephen, this one is going to go into the mail, and we will have it out to you very soon.
That's right. Thanks, Steven. Great question.
Hoi! Talking raw. Talking raw.
Hey. Where's the wasabi?
Hey, wasabi.
You forgot the wasabi today.
You know what, though? It doesn't matter. It's my turn to do
yes.
talking raw.
That's right. So what do you got for us today?
So this is going to be a very quick thing. This is one of my pet peeves. I've told you this a number of times. And if you're out there, I am not sorry that you're going to be offended. Whenever we get back from workshops, we always have a lot of photographers come to it. It's not all the photographers. There's always going to be one or two people
Offensive.
that will throw up a photo of one of the models that we brought and will not fix the blemishes on their skin. And we're talking about, I don't really care about retouching. I'm talking about, girl's got acne right here on her forehead.
Yeah, it's not a natural blemish. It's a
That's right.
pimple.
I've always said, and I said it last week, if it's temporary, remove it. If it's permanent, leave it. So I'm not talking about taking a mole, whatever it is. But what person wants to, I always say, shame on you if you post a picture ever that shows acne. I mean, there's times where you might have somebody that's like completely covered in acne and it's like, I can't do that. I get it. But one dot on the forehead. So we're going to talk about the tool that a lot of people don't seem to understand. To me, it's the most basic. So let's dive right in. Now, what I have selected here, you can see right here, is my spot healing brush tool. Okay, so we see it, spot healing brush tool. How does that work? It is the coolest tool because, probably about 4 generations ago of Photoshop, I never used this tool because it didn't work well. If you tried to fix something close to hair, it sucked the color over. A lot of people went, that tool doesn't work. But Content Aware has gotten so good. Basically, it's saying, you know what, Photoshop, you just do your thing. I click and I paint over the blemish and I let it go, and it's gone that fast. Now, there's a lot of people that are going to be very, it's not bad to say very anal about something, right? It sounds bad, but that's a real word, huh? And they'll look at things and go, yeah, but if we zoom way in, let's zoom way in, they'll go, yeah, you've lost the texture of that skin there. Well, if that's you and you can't put up with that tiny bit of texture being lost, then don't use the spot healing brush. All you got to do is go up here and select your healing brush tool. They are basically identical tools. The problem is, one of them, Photoshop, makes the decision for you. With this one, you decide.
Right?
So you decide. What you do is you find an area of skin that you want to cover that blemish over with. You hold down your Alt key. It becomes a target. Now I click. It selected that spot. See, when I drag it over the spot now, you can see it's already starting to put that texture. When I click, you can see off to the left the little X where I selected from, and I'm basically painting that area of texture right onto there. So if you get to a point where you're like going, yeah, but I'm going to losing that texture, it doesn't always happen, but if you get in a spot with lots of texture, switch to the healing brush tool and just make the selection
I don't know why I
yourself.
cannot get out of my mind the song Healing Nothing. Oh, it's
More
feeling.
than
Sorry. So it goes back to my
healing.
Debbie Boone
So
roots from last
again, that's why I always say, shame on you. If you can't click on this, at least the spot healing brush, and just go click paint, A little bit. I would much rather lose a tiny bit of texture at the, like, I was gonna say the molecular level, you like zoomed in, than to leave a zit on my forehead. It's not that hard to do. So use the healing brush.
You
the
too
spot
could be
healing brush
zit-free with Mark's special training.
Exactly. Because remember, it's not faking it. It's not fooling it. It's not photoshopping. It is just removing something that's not supposed to be there in the first place.
Right.
So that is Talking Raw for today.
This was brought to you by Clearasil.
That's right. Hey, we'd like to hear about the things that you would like us to cover in our Talking Raw segment. So in the comments below, let us know, and we will get to work trying to get a area up of that questioning, answering.
Stop
thing.
talking. We got
Okay,
sushi.
We have sushi.
But we also have some food for thought.
We do. You give me your food for thought first. I've just been babbling.
You have been babbling. My food for thought, and we've said it so many times. In fact, we said it so many times on the beginning of the show, but just high-speed sync is the bomb diddly. It just works.
It'll change your
It
life.
will change your life. It really, really does.
And the spider holster.
And the spider holster, too. Those two things. So, no, it really is special.
It is.
You know, in fact, we just completed a few days ago or a week ago our workshop in San Francisco. And, you know, it was one of those things that at every workshop we do, we hold back letting people use high-speed sync and the triggers that we have.
Yeah.
We let everybody in the workshop use them at one point.
We bring out our big S1
But at one
lights.
point we bring them out, we let everybody shoot, and then we put the trigger on their camera. And they've been shooting with their speed lights and whatever lights they have. Maybe other battery-powered, non-high-speed sync lights.
Or natural light all
Natural
day.
light. The second they click their camera and look at that picture, their life has changed. I mean, really, they're like, oh my goodness, I can't believe what this
And
looks
it's not like we're like doing this to like manipulate them. It's a matter of if we do it at the beginning of the workshop, then we'll just fight over lights the entire day. Because once that happens, people stand around the back and go, no, I can't take a picture
At
because I
that
don't have a
workshop,
trigger.
We were up at an overview looking over the Pacific Ocean, and we had a model up kind of on this rock wall. You want to hear 50-year-old guys get giddy and giggle like little girls?
Yeah.
Let them look at the back of their camera, and they're like,
How is it doing that?
I mean, it was pretty fun. So,
Yeah.
that's my big food for thought. It's just,
Wait,
it's awesome.
that's us. We're the 52-year.
That was us.
50-year-old guys yelling and giggling. So if you want to hear it, just hang out with us, and you'll
That's it.
hear us giggle. Yeah. My food for thought for today is probably echoing that same thing. How much I love high-speed sync. We joke around about it'll change your life. It's changed the way we photograph. It
Totally.
really has. And it doesn't come at, like there's no price to it. There's a struggle. There's a learning curve. There is times where you got to, I always say you have to like go all out on something and fail, and then you pull back a little bit in order to learn it. So, and I'm one that all you got to do is go back like 5 years into the way I've edited photos, and probably the same that you feel the same way. You're like, oh, what was I thinking? But we find new processes. You push it to the limit, and then you pull it back and you make it your own. And you can't do that unless you go out and try it. And that's kind of what I think we've done with high-speed sync.
Yeah.
It took us months to really, I don't want to say master it, but to make it our own. And now it's part of our repertoire. And I hate shooting without it.
It's part of our life.
It really is. So
Awesome.
food for thought. It is about the gear.
That is, it is. Well, friends, just want to thank you for joining us on another episode of the Panoptic Chopstick Show with the Chopstick guys. We love having you join us every single week, and we look forward to chatting with you next week. As always, we want to ask that you like
And subscribe.
That's right.
And you know what I looked up? The bell is
It's
right
there.
Right here
Right there.
above my
so
head.
go ahead and click that bell.
See that
right
bell?
there.
There's like a bunch of little dots, a square, and then there's a bell right there. Hit the bell, and you will be notified every time we post something new.
That's right.
And we've got great stuff to show you.
Good stuff. So everybody have a great week. Can't wait to see you next week. And don't forget,
Say sushi.
We want to welcome you to our YouTube channel. That's right, the Panoptic Chopstick channel, where we are bringing fun to photography.
Hey, we want to invite you each week to join us on Tuesday, where we put out a new episode of our Panoptic Chopsticks show, where we will give you tips, tricks, interviews with photographers. We'll give you DIY projects to do on your own, and maybe even inspire you a bit.
That's right, including always a little dash of fun. So we want to invite you to go ahead and subscribe and like our channel, where you will get notified every Tuesday of brand new episodes. But welcome to the Panoptic Chopsticks channel.
Come join the fun.